I'm fine, thank you. My author name, Pat Garcia, is pen name. I was born in Blythe, Georgia, and I'm not living there anymore. I have been in Europe on the continental, oh, well, in continental, on continental Europe for some years now. I live in Groß-Kreuzenberg, Germany, which is a part of Hessen, Germany. Happily single. No, I do not have any children. I love cats and I do not have any now because I had one for 22 years and he's still with me in my heart. So, no cats until whenever or whatever. The food that I dream about is grits. And when I get up in the mornings, I can't go and buy in because we don't have grits over here. But that's my favorite food. Yes, I am. I'm always excited when I go back because the first thing that I order is grits, whether it's morning, noon, or evening grits. Beautiful. My favorite color is red and pink. I know that's two, but red and pink. I don't really look at television. I prefer reading, but I did enjoy looking at the Bridgertons when it was on Netflix. My favorite actress, um, I don't think she's living anymore. Della Reese, I think it was Della Reese. She was my favorite actress. I enjoyed her tremendously. I mind walking around with a beer belly. I don't want to do that. I do want to stay fit. So there are some exercises that I do for my arms and my legs that keep me like fit to lift heavy things when I have to. Music. Music calms me. I sing all the time. I wake up singing. I go to sleep singing. And sometimes I wake up early in the mornings around 2 to 3 and I'm singing. My spirit is singing. Music calms me very like it's my sedative. I love every kind of music except for black metal. I love music. I love the classics. In fact, I started with the classics. So there's no, it's not or it's not something strange when you walk into my house and you hear Beethoven or Mozart. That's normal. I have sometimes I go to an opera or to a classical concert. I love music. I'm not one of those people that have I don't like that and I don't like that. I love music, period. When it's done well, when it's good, when I feel like it's coming from the soul, the heart of the person, you got me. Yes, I do. My favorite song is Amazing Grace. That song plays a role for me because it follows me wherever I go. When I had to leave my school, my high school, to go to integrate, to be the first Black to integrate a school in Augusta, Georgia. Amazing Grace followed me and kept me with my feet on the ground, that I wouldn't get angry or lash out because of the fact that I was being ostracized or people were spitting at me, throwing rocks at me, to keep my head going because I knew I had to get through that year so that it would be easier for everybody of my color that came after me. I do all of them. I bop around. I even bop around in the church. My pastor always says, "We missed you, Pat. I was looking in the back to see if you were dancing and you weren't there." I love to slow dance because I like the closeness. I love the being held in a slow dance, but I love bopping around too. I just love dancing. They always say that Pat will tell you the truth, the honesty. They appreciate the honesty. And they appreciate that I don't hit them over the head with it, but I still tell them in a loving way because they know I mean well with them. If you want to know if you really want to know the truth, somebody talk to Patty. She'll tell you. There are very few things that make me want to spit nails. And I don't know why that is so, but it is so. I'm usually, um, I can get very upset when I see a kid being abused. I can get upset when I see a woman being abused. But I still don't spit nails because of the fact that I try to find I try to find that reason, or I try to look at it and say, there's a reason for everything. I always tell my friends, there is a divine reason for everything. And I believe that. I am neat in my where I sleep, in my bedroom, in my living room, in my office, I'm messy. When I'm in my office, I'm messy. I have papers here, there, and there. I have sheets hanging on the wall saying, he's gonna go here, she's gonna go there. I'm tracking my characters, what they are doing. I would say I'm messy in my office. I would say that I am passionate, not nice, and not nice and not mean. I'm not a mean person. I'm a passionate person. I go at life passionately. And I don't know whether that's nice, but I am passionate. Lots of them. There's a song called by Sydney Lauper, True Colors. You can when they pull that layer, that's when you see what they really are. That's why I am very, very, very careful not to give my trust out at all to anyone until I know in my heart that I can trust them. Twitter, Facebook has too many. I'm on Facebook, but Facebook has too many complications. Every time I look around, they're asking me to change my password, which I do often. But since I don't know, but I prefer Twitter instead of Facebook. But I use both. You're talking to a Atlanta, Georgia person, a Georgia person, Coca-Cola. The one person that I connect with the most is my sister in Louisville, Tennessee. And I talk to her. every week. We talk per Zoom. And my sister in Augusta, I talk to her every week. That's on my menu. It's written here. Today is our call. No, there's no one that's made me laugh really so hard that I could cry tears. I enjoy interacting with people, and when I interact with people, if they say something or do something funny that I feel is funny, I laugh automatically. It just comes out. I can't stop it. And it's a loud laugh, and or something. I enjoy people, but I don't know anybody that's made me on the internet that makes me laugh, like really laugh. Outside of you say something sometime that I'm sitting there reading when I'm going through your archive and oh my gosh, and I start laughing. But you're not talking to me, but you are talking to me because of the fact that I'm reading it. I hope you understand that. Well, you can bet I'll be honest. I prefer Nonnie Jules because I don't know Wonder Woman. I really enjoyed Hype by Yvette M. Calero. That was I enjoy anything she writes. That's no, she writes very, very well. But Hype showed me that she could deal with what was going on in the world, the real world. She was telling it like it is. And I like books that tell it like it is. And the second book that I really enjoyed that brought me to tears was at the beginning of last year when I read the book um, from Shirley Harris Slaughter about her mother. That got me to see that was history, a history lesson for me. And it was also a way of seeing that we were, as a people of color, we were doing things back then in World War II that nobody knew about, that we were making history too, but it wasn't written in any textbooks that I knew about. So I think those two books really, they've made a big impression on my life. Again, it was real. It was telling it like it is. And I thought, right on. I like books like that. I don't like books that are only goody two-shoe books. I have to read them and I have to rate them, and I rate every book. When I'm on my show with John, I rate every book fairly because I have that gift to read without judging. But Shirley's book and Yvette's book, Hype, those two books were for me outstanding. Yes, I do. I post reviews. I don't post them right away because they're sitting. I got about 5 or 6 sitting in my inbox right now. But I do post reviews on everything I read. On the story. On the story, on how it's structured. Uh there's tension in it, on the grammar, uh, on all of those things that count, the spelling, on everything that counts that makes a story wonderful, beautiful, that you don't want to put the book down. and everything counts. I'm not saying that it has to be 100% perfect because there could be one or two words that are misspelled, but then you got to let the reader know that that's what's in the books, that's what's in the book, in the content, in the manuscript, so that the reader won't think, okay, then well, it's supposed to be 100%. Why didn't they mention this, this, and that? I think we as reviewers, we have a job to do when we review a book, and not just give good marks. I really do. I think honesty counts. I think you sell more books with honesty than you do with not being honest. That's my personal opinion. No, I'm not afraid of being honest with anyone because I want that writer to improve at all times. Not in, I don't expect for a writer to write like me or to do the things that I do in my writing. But I do expect for each writer to excel in what he or she does. That's important because that's where the heart and soul comes in writing. You and I can feel it. But if you're just going to write a blah 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 blah, and I'm not going to feel it. A writer has a soul, and that has to come in that book. The story has to be there. And these days, with everybody on the market, everybody, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision as a writer. Am I writing to make money, or am I writing to share how I see the world, to make a change, to make a difference? And I decided a long time ago, I was there to make a difference. So you'll never, you won't see me writing just to make money. Whatever I write, I believe in it. And I do a lot of research to get, to make sure I can give that to the reader in a way that they understand it and can learn from it. That's important. From the RRBC, I have not read any poorly written books. As co-host on the RNH show, we get a chance to choose our books, JP and I, and we are real. If anything, I am astonished at the quality of all of the books that are coming out of RRBC right now. Now, they might not be a kind of book that I would write, but they are excellent in their own standing. And I appreciate reading a good book with no mistakes and or one or two. I'm not going to knock you down because you had one misspelled word or this was misspelled. But I am really happy that I'm reading books coming from RRBC. I read other books outside of RRBC. I am a voracious reader, but the books that I read from RRBC are fantastic right now. And if I do get a book that's not written well and have poor mistakes, I must admit that I do try to read it. And if it's really that bad, I will write the author. And I know I don't have to do that. But I write the author and say, I'm sorry, your story structure, the story is good. I see where you're going. But I don't need to be able, I need you to show me that, give me that, lead me that way. I don't need to decipher it for myself because that's why I bought your book. I want you to lift me into your world. And I'm thankful to say whether I read Teacups from Wanda Adams Fisher, and she caught me. Not at the beginning, but she caught me because about the fourth of the way through the book, I saw something was happening with our main character. And I jumped on the bandwagon. The same with Lisa. I love her book, Bravura, and all of them. I love them, and not to mention your Untitled. I think you've written your Untitled and the other book that you've read. One of your books that I read that I always have on my mind.
Fabulous one, the fabulous one. You know who I'm talking about. The fabulous one out on her yacht.
It's no pedigree, but and I'm thinking now why I had it. I had it on my mind because that was the first time that I figured out for myself that you were a very open woman and fair. Not every woman that leads a book club is fair. Some of them have favorites. And I love that. I love that book. I really love that book. For me, that's the best book you've ever written. And then you came with Untitled, the quotes book, which I love because I love your quotes and because they're true. Every quote that I've read in that book is true. You can take it as a bit of wisdom. That there's a diamond in every quote that you put in that book. And sometimes one of those quotes would keep me going when I have my bad days, because I do have bad days. I think I am a good author in all humbleness. I am a good author. This is my gift. This is what God gave me. My purpose. And I know it. And I try to be true to it. I don't want to write like anybody else but Pat Garcia. That's who I want to write like. And I know that path is not easy for me, but I'm going to write about it. Right in that path. So yes, I think I am a good author. I have been a published author since 2012. My first short story was terrible. Terrible. I got very bad marks, reviews. Well, I got some good reviews, but there was one review from a lady. Oh, she ripped into me. And I remember the publisher, who no longer exists. The publisher was from Canada. And she asked me, she says, Pat, I can take this review down. I said, oh, no. Don't take it down. I said, let it stay up. I got to answer her. She deserves an answer because she wrote a nice long review, so she deserves an answer. I said, I just got to work through it in my heart so that I don't come across as being bitter and defensive. And she said, okay, I'm not going to ask you anymore. I said, I don't expect you to answer me anymore, because when I said leave it there. And I did. I wrote her an answer, a reply back to her review about 7 days later. It could have been 8. And I thanked her, first of all, for her point of view. And I wasn't angry. I said to her that, you know, I will never be a Toni Morrison. And I believe because she mentioned Toni Morrison in her review and what she was expecting, I said, I will never be a Toni Morrison. I will always be Pat Garcia. I can understand that you don't like what I write, but I'm thanking you because you had the guts to tell me that you don't like it. And I have the guts to tell you that I accept your critique, but I will never be a Toni Morrison. I have now 5, well, not including that book because I took it down. It was on a rainy day, and one of these days I'm gonna rewrite it, I'm gonna and I'm gonna write it like I want to write it. But I had written the book, and the publisher had changed some things, and I was at that time didn't know the business. I let it go as it was, but I'm gonna rewrite that story one of these days. But I have right now 5 books on as a published as a author that have been published. My first baby was Turn the Light On, and then my second baby was Let His Banner Over Me Be Love, and I love that book because with Turn the Light On, I was kind of like putting my feet out there, slowly in the water, and the water was slowly parting, like the Red Sea parted for Moses. But in Let His Banner Over Me Be Love, everything came out. It was sitting there, and some people like it, some people don't like it. That's their problem. But that it came out then, and then the second book, the third book was Janie B. You notice all of my women have some kind of problems, and my women are my characters are basically older women who have found love later in life, and that's what I like about them. And then came Contemplations of a Woman Over 65, because I actually know someone who got married at 70. In fact, I sung at their wedding. She was 70 years old. She is still living. So she was 70 at that time, she and her husband. So, and they're still happily married. And then Late Bloomer. Late Bloomer is, again, we have a big international school here. I don't live far from it. And it's a mixture of kids that are coming into that school and a mixture of teachers from different races and nationalities. So I know some people, and that book came out of what I know at that international school. I think that's 5. If you really want to know Pat Garcia, then you have to read Let His Banner Over Me Be Love. Because the passion in that book mirrors the passion in my heart. On Amazon iBooks, on almost every online store in the world, you can get my books. I am working on 3 books. Or I'm getting ready to prepare for the Alpha Omega. I have a short story for there. Will be coming out around between the 1st and the 5th of July. It's called The Power of Touch. I love that book. It's unusual. Then I have another book, I Believe You, which I'm working on with Four Wheels Pub. Uh, I hope to have that coming out in June, sometime in June. What I'm missing right now is the cover, but I'm working on that. I mean, they're working on that, and I'm just rooting them on. And I have a novel coming out. I just don't know when. I received the edits, and I have to go through the edits and put the book together again and see what happens. But I do have 3 coming out. I'm not a person that can write a book a year or a book every 6 months. Because of the what I have, my focus in my books, I have to do a lot of research, and whatever I write, I want it to be real. I want people to say, "Hey, I know what she's talking about because I've been there before." How I just say this with Janie B. I don't know how many women have come up to me and said, here in Germany, English speaking, and said, "Hey, I really love that short story. It's I was looking for more because I could relate. I want to write books that people can relate to because I'm one of those people that believe that people are not reading just to get away from reality. They want to see another reality to help them rise above the own reality that they're living through. That's what books are there for, to help change our minds, our hearts, and make us see new perspectives in life. PatGarciaAuthor.com is my website, and my blog is on my website. I have 2 other blogs, but you can see them on my website. Without doubt, without a doubt, RRBC. My first book, Turn the Light On, won the KCT. That would not have happened if the people that run the organization of RRBC had not walked with me through the process. They didn't push me through the process. They walked with me. They didn't tell me, okay, do da 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 and go. No, they walked with me. And I was really happy about that because I didn't know a thing. I was lost. And when I won the KCT, I cried and hooped and danced and everything else. So I would say RRBC is for me an organization that if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what to do, you want to put as much as you can into the organization and walk with them, and they will show you the way. I really mean that. I mean, I really appreciate the organization and will always appreciate it. There are a lot of good people here, writers, administrative people. I mean, if I really get down, I just send Paula a note. She knows I enjoy sunshiny weather and everything. But if I need to know something about my covers or something, it's nice to have people that that say what they mean and then do it. And I have found those kind of people at RRBC. It feels great being on Marisa Island with great authors who I can say, well, hey, if I really need to relax, I can get a book, regardless of which book it is. I can get JP's book. No, I can't pick up JP's book. Every time I pick up Jerry's, I start crying. It's a fantastic book. I told him that should be a film. But it's nice being on RISA. It's nice being with colleagues that are respectful, that are not jealous, but are encouraging you, that saying you can do it. I like that. I like that Riser Island. I like that because that's something special. For me, it's something special. So I got on my Riser t-shirt. For me, that's really, really special. And I must admit right now, before you end the interview, I I was 3 years in RRBC before I did anything because I had things to take care of, personal things. But the person that really made an impression on me, those 3 years that I was not active in RRBC, was John Fioravanti. And after I was able to come and become active in the club, I'll never forget it. My dues were due, my membership dues, and I paid them, and I paid them wrongly. And Paula sent me back and said, we don't have access to that account anymore. And then I was confused, and I wrote John. And I said, John, I paid my ... and I paid him there and there, and then he checked into it. And he got back to me and said, Pat, you got to pay it this with those times have changed. I will always be grateful for that. I have a loyalty to this club because of not what I've done, but because of what they've done for me, the people that I've met, that I felt really care about me and my writing. So I enjoy the club, I enjoy RISA, and I'll always want to give back to this club, regardless, always. I can't say all of them, huh? Because I love the RNH, the Wave shows, the Rave shows. I love them. I love the book discussions because that's when I get to know the people, the author who's writing the book. That's when I get to know why they wrote the book. I love the conference, our writers conference, I think is one of the best. And I can say that because I go to a lot of writers conferences online. And I can tell you, we offer great stuff at RRBC's writers conference. I learned this year to love the blogging challenge. There's so many things I love about RRBC. And I think my favorite would be right now. What I enjoy the most is working with John Pulaski on Raiders Not Haters. I love that show. We're still growing into it. I'm amazed that we were given the opportunity to grow. That's what I like. That's what I like about RRBC. I don't have to be perfect. You're learning. Of course, we're going to get better every time we do a show, but we don't have to be perfect from the beginning. And I love that about that, you know. And we sometimes get off the show laughing. That's okay. That's why we're there. We're there to make the people feel comfortable and like they're welcome to be there. When I can't do that anymore and JP can't do that anymore, then we don't need to be on the show. So I would say definitely RN8. Final words is keep writing. Get involved. Get involved. A lot of you out there have talents. A lot of you. And you're not paying it forward with your talent. There's a lot to be done in the club, and we can do it. And I love you guys, regardless of what. For me, you're first class. That's it.